Hello, colleagues. Welcome, everyone. I was asking myself in the morning if I'm more on the cheerleader side or more on the cynical side when it comes to the Global Compact for migration. And I have to admit I'm more a cheerleader. But when it comes to the EU, I think I'm more on the cynical side. And when Paulina asked me the question, what positive impact the GCM had on the EU new Pact for migration and asylum when it comes to individuals who are still in the process of migration and plan to seek asylum, my first reaction was a clear and simple none. There's not much to say about the impact. But I'm neither a lawyer nor a scientist with empirical data. My conclusion resides only from my personal observations of the development of the GCM and the superficial analysis of the new Pact. And I hope there are some Commission staff members in the room today who will refute my conclusion. So here's why I came to that conclusion. My first point is that the notion of the GCM as a legally non-binding agreement has caused not just an academic debate about soft law and hard law, but also a political debate and even a public debate on whether or not this compact has any influence on national policies. But I would say it's a misperception of the compact itself, because the compact is more a process of internationalization of migration policy. So as to move it to something more potentially more robust and consequential in the future. So it's more a starting point. It's a political instrument which actually can deepening and strengthening international cooperation and coordination on migration policies in the long term. But in the short term, I think it will not constrain state behavior or create any new norms, or institutions will not replace national level controls on immigration. But given this, given the right circumstances with political will and advocacy, the new regime could stimulate a progressive adoption of more humane, rights-based policies and practices and enhance the international cooperation over time. Again, the aspect of time is, I think, really crucial. And this might then lead to appreciation and acceptance of global human mobility more as a set of challenges to be met and opportunities to embrace, rather than as a source of threat and instability. So, and this notion of GCM as a political instrument means also that it could also then reinforce the implementation of real international hard law and standards, which are cited in this document. I think this is a real power when it comes to the GCM, but it has a really, like many ground conditions need to be fulfilled to have power in the end. And for the new pact on migration and asylum, I think it was just like too short time period between the GCM development, adoption, and the development of the EU Pact. So that did not really had any impact on it, and especially because the review structures for the compact were not in place, and the pandemic and so on and so forth. I think it just not created the impact on this EU document. So this brings me to my second point, the EU during the negotiation. I would say there was a EU position in the beginning of the negotiation of the compact process, a position of unity, and it went straight into fragmentation during the negotiation process. According to the European Commission, the UN delegation statements were EU coordinated statements constituting a unified EU approach, but the EU lost this momentum speak with one voice during the negotiation. Everyone who was there witnessed Austria talking about talking on behalf of some EU member states, not all. After Hungary dissociated from the process and suddenly realized that migration is an unfavorable and dangerous process. So from this point on, the EU position went from united to fragmented. And after months of consultation and negotiation, when the Union came to speak on behalf of our member states, several of them decided then in the end, before the Marrakesh conference, that this process is not acceptable, and then finally at the Marrakesh conference decided to vote, or at least not to support the GCM. And even though the majority of the EU member states did not did approve the GCM in Marrakesh, this development shows that once more that the unity of the EU in international the unity and the international representation of the EU is far from reach. But regardless of the fragmented EU position in the Compact resolution, in the Compact process, in the end, in the UN General Assembly, only states can vote, and the EU is merely an observer. So even though the EU could have used the negotiation to coordinate a unified position, in the end, it were the states who decided and voted on the Compact. But still, I mean, with this fragmentation, also caused by the disinformation campaign of far-right activist groups, the appetite to use the GCM was lost, not only like on the domestic level, but also on the European level, I would say. And I assume that that the Commission, who was trying to circle around the conflict within the European Union and its member states, was thinking about then that when they were drafting the EU Pact on Migration and Asylum. And here I come to my third point. The EU Pact on Migration and Asylum is a compromise proposal, and the GCM was not seen to help to bridge the conflict between member states in the EU. So the pact is reflecting a search of consensus, subjecting its policies to a lowest common denominator. The EU did not want to use the GCM as a framework to develop a long-term and comprehensive strategy in the area of migration. That is why the Compact is only mentioned twice in the whole set of documents of like more than 700 pages. It's only mentioned twice. In the Commission staff working document, it says that it quotes regarding the external dimension of migration, some NGOs called for policy coherence and coherence with the UN Global Compact. That's it. That's the reference to the Global Compact. And then another in the Commission recommendation on cooperation among member states concerning operations carried out by vessels owned or operated by private entities. There is a mentioning of the EU Parliament resolution on the Global Compact. Nothing more. That's it. In more than 700 pages, 2 references. But we could still say that at least the Pact recognizes that migration has been a constant feature of human history, and it's also states that with a well-managed system, migration can contribute to growth, innovation, and social dynamism. But this would be very much in line with the GCM language. But on the other hand, this has not been translated into policies. And here I come to some contradiction of the GCM and the EU, and I guess we will talk about the contradictions later on also in the other sessions, so I will just mention some. I mean, the screening procedure will most likely lead to less legal safeguards and to deny access to other resident procedures, which contradicts Objective 11, for instance, which wants to reduce vulnerabilities of migrants. And the new border procedure will lead to increased and longer detention, which clearly violates Objective 13 of the Compact. And we can go on and go on. I mean, saving lives in the Mediterranean Sea and other features of the EU Pact clearly stand against GCM objectives. So to conclude, I think the effect or the impact of the GCM on the EU Pact was very little, and I think it was due to these three factors: time, fragmentation in the negotiation process, and also the already difficult conflicts which the Commission had to maneuver in the development of the EU Pact as a compromise proposal. Thank you.